Probably turn it that way just a little bit. So or you gotta have Tavius move over a little bit.
Yeah, that's good.
That's okay. Wait, there we go.
Okay. Good evening. We have, what does it say, 3 people or 5 people? I can't see what it is. 6. Yeah, it's going up.
I just got the notification. So. Just make sure you talk loud enough from back there.
All right. Yeah. Can you hear me? Okay. Because I usually don't have the camera that far away, but I assume it's going to come through. Is that 2 feathers? That's pretty good. I can read that from here. I think it's
Good eyesight.
I think it's what, 6 feet away from us? Can't read anymore. We'll give it just a minute here for a few more people to get on, and then we'll get to chatting. I can't read anything on the screen from this far away, so Kelly's gonna help us out with questions and stuff.
Sage says he recognizes this bus.
Yes. So this is Larry and Tavius, and this is their Scenicruiser. It's a 1955 early model, like
292.
292 serial number. And he made it up. We're up top of the hill, so he made it up the hill today. No problem whatsoever.
Did just fine.
Yeah. I got a little worried because you let off before you got to the turn here, and I was.
Well, it shifted in the second.
Oh.
And then I opened it back up and it geared back down. So then I gouged it on.
Got it. So we'll just do a little Q&A here tonight. I am done with the MCI for now. It's going to be picked up tomorrow.
Someone's saying that the screen is out of focus. So
Really?
doesn't look like it on mine.
Yeah, it doesn't look out of focus to me either. Can you make it big on yours and see if it's out of? We may be out of focus. Maybe the bus is in focus? I don't know. Yeah, so maybe we are a little bit soft, but
Maybe focused more on the butt.
yeah. I was trying to show more of the bus. Looks fine. Everybody else looks good.
They'd probably rather see the bus than us anyway.
That I would if I was them. So the MCI is done, and I haven't taken it for a test drive yet, but he's going to pick it up in the morning. Tag axle brakes are all working. I think I fixed a leak that he had on his transmission today too. All the wheels are back on it.
Someone says stop talking for a few minutes while he goes to get his beer.
Oh. Okay.
I don't want to miss anything.
I will also still donate if you do any super chats tonight, I will donate that towards the bill of the MCI that's down there for the farmhands quartet. So if anybody does any super chats tonight, that's going to go right towards their bill, just to help them out. So I think we raised about $814 the other night that we did. So that was really nice to help them out.
Remember, questions in all caps, only questions in caps, please.
Yep. All right. If anybody asked any questions yet? Well, do you want to tell us about your bus, how long you've had it, what you've done to it, and that kind of stuff, what your plans are for the future?
I've had it 11 years. It looked like something out of Mad Max when I bought it. So you can tell I've done quite a bit to it. Planning on putting a bigger engine in it. Maybe a 13-speed transmission in the future, and just run the wheels off of it, I guess.
Do you already have a bigger engine for it?
I do.
I thought you did.
Cummins N14.
And that old semi-truck.
Come out of the truck. Got the cradle built. Just waiting on a little more time.
Tyler wants to know what your generator setup is on your bus.
It is a Onan 15 kW. It's almost too big for the bus, but it's something I found on Craigslist really cheap. So, and it works. So
You almost can't see what's behind me in his bay there, but can you see that? What is that?
it's a 1982 Yamaha 650 Turbo. Pretty rare bike. They've made them for a couple of years. I've taken all the fairings off of it and kind of done a cafe style with it. So, kind of a project, something to haul around in the bus.
A Scenicruiser is one of the few buses you can haul a motorcycle around in the luggage bays. They're so big.
Yeah, I think Jeff said he had 4 in his luggage bays at one time.
Is it a good idea to replace DD3 cans with spring cans?
On that MCI, you really can't unless you do some major modifications. There's no room for them. So where the can sits, the DD3 can is just slightly smaller than a spring brake diaphragm, than the 3030 can. And the angle that it sits at, it's right up against the airbag. So you'd have no way to cage it even if you could get it to fit. So you'd have to totally change the mounting system on it, move the mount over, and it'd be a lot of work. The DD3 itself does work pretty well as long as you keep an eye on them.
How many hours do you have in the tag axle work? I'm about to do the same job.
Not a ton, maybe 3 hours, I think. If that. A lot of it was diagnosing and figuring out what was wrong with it. Once I figured that out, then it wasn't very long. It took me an hour to put it back together and get it working today.
Will you go solar? I assume they're asking me that.
No, I don't want to take away from the outside appearance of the bus with solar panels, so I won't do that.
Do you think you'll get any movie work with your bus or anything with the paint job? Or are you hoping?
Yeah, it'd be kind of fun. I probably need to take it out in public a little bit more, let it be seen.
Yeah.
Has the bus been turbocharged?
Not yet. If I put the other engine in, it will be, but the 871 is not turbo. It's pretty much original.
Scott, what is the hardest part to fix on a GM?
It just depends on which bus and what you're asking. Like a cracked bulkhead would really suck. Other than that, changing a starter on a 4106 is a pain in the butt. Scenicruiser, most things are pretty easy on them. Everything's pretty accessible and nothing's really that hidden.
Okay. Since Tesla is rising up, what is your thoughts on a Tesla bus?
I mean, there's already electric buses. A lot of cities already have them. There's some issues with them and stuff, but the technology is going to be there. But to convert an old vintage bus to an electric bus, that would be a major undertaking, and they're really expensive.
Is that the original paint on the bus?
It's the original paint scheme, but no, the bus didn't come with, they call it the Pepsi scheme. It did not come with that, but I like the color, so that's what I went with.
What years did they do the Pepsi scheme?
I think it was around the early 70s, maybe 71 or 2. I believe when they started coming out with the other, Greyhound started coming out with the red, white, and blue buses, I believe they went back to the Scenicruisers and done them red, white, and blue.
Almost religiously, every model of bus Greyhound kept for 10 years, and then they would get rid of them. But these they kept longer, right?
Yeah, I think up till maybe mid-70s.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
Then they did the yellow and blue.
No, that was the early yellow and blue. Like palms.
Someone says, curious, whatever happened to the bus with the engine that was full of water?
I'm not sure. Last time I talked to him, he hadn't even had a chance to get to it and try. He was gonna soak the internal parts of the engine in some oil and hope that he could get it freed up. But he hadn't got to it the last time I heard from him.
How much headroom do you have in your bus?
Probably 6'2" or something. The floors haven't been lowered, so it's stock, whatever that is. Not a whole lot.
Sage says, cracked engine mounts suck.
They do. Yes.
Sage
Sage is
knows.
correct. Leaf springs suck. Lots of heavy stuff sucks.
The radius rod bushings,
Those aren't too bad.
they are in a Scenicruiser if you can't get them out.
Oh,
It's a big job.
yours are a special size too.
Yeah, they don't make 'em.
Are those the ones that you had?
You had to build them.
Yeah.
Have a machine pressed in. Pretty big job.
What was the major design objective of the Scenicruiser?
I think the luggage bays, don't you?
Yeah, they were
storage.
and yeah, they were hauling freight too. And then, I mean, that was the first 40-foot vehicle on the road, as far as I know. Like they had two designed. One was a 35-foot. Was it the GX1? Is that what it was? basically a 4106 that was raised up higher. And then they had the Scenicruiser ready to go if they could get the laws changed to allow a 40-foot vehicle, because 35-foot was the maximum legal length up until then. And the Greyhound lobbied for it and got the law passed where it could go to 40 feet, and that's how they came out with the Scenicruiser.
And the name Scenicruiser, sitting up high, you can see more, I guess. So.
Tyler says to look badass.
To look-
That was what his answer to that was.
The bus, it does look badass.
Oh, at least wanting us
Talk
to.
about you? Yeah. You already look badass.
You
Yeah,
know,
that's right.
this is Tyler's dream bus.
Oh,
over
is that
there.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, I know he'd look for one.
Is the bus automatic?
Yes, it is now. Allison 740. It's going to be a 13-speed someday, though. Retired truck driver, I like changing gears.
It's also a good anti-theft device.
That's right. Nobody can drive them no more.
No.
Do you know how to drive?
Not the bus,
No.
but
Soon.
I do have
Say
my
our
permit.
kids made sure that they knew how to drive a stick.
Yeah.
And, yep.
I know how to drive stick.
Yeah.
It's good to teach. We're caught up on questions. Tyler says he'll help you with the 13-speed swap.
All right. We'll start next week. Come on to Greenback.
You're not really that close to doing that swap yet, are you?
I am pretty close.
Really?
I just don't have the time.
Oh.
I'm on
Well,
working on
Tyler
that
will be
house.
down here starting August.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
All right.
You're retired now. You got all the time you want.
I wish.
He worked more than he did when he went to work.
No, there.
That's all the questions right this minute. So, do you have other stuff you want to talk about?
The MCI. Trying to think what else we got done today. So we put the wheels on it first thing this morning. I put the other brake drum on it, adjusted all the brakes, got the parking brake set good. Adjusted the front brakes. The front left brake was extremely out of adjustment. Everything else looked real good. Finished up greasing up the front end on it. We did the oil change and fuel filter change on his generator. Just little stuff like that I've been kind of putting off just until I got all the other stuff out of the way.
Will there be a tour? So I'm guessing they're asking about your bus.
Yeah, we can do an outside tour. I don't know if is your inside clean enough to.
Two boys, what do you expect? We don't care, though.
So maybe later. Before you
Yeah,
run?
we'll do that before we finish up here. How many people do we have watching the live right now?
376.
Okay. Yeah, it's early in the day.
Is that a mini split on the right rear of your bus?
It is. Good eye. It was actually given to me. It's a 220 volt. The reason I went with 220 volt because it was free, but it really does a good job. But then you have to be either the generator or 50 amp to make it work. But it does a good job.
How many BTU is it?
It's 22, I think. 22,000.
That's big.
Yeah, it does it pretty good, and it's a heater too. You know. It's
How much does a Scenicruiser weigh?
You know, I had it weighed before I started, but I've never weighed it after when it was a shell, and I can't really remember what it was. As a 10 year ago.
I would guess that you're probably about 34,000 maybe.
Yeah, probably so. It wasn't that as a shell.
Yeah,
I wanted to say 27 or 24,000, but I can't remember.
All of these brakes being out of adjustment, is that just from normal wear or the inexperienced mechanics messing with them?
Normal wear and not being adjusted. You have to, about every few thousand miles you should be adjusting them. And because his brakes were so bad in the back, his front brakes were doing extra working, and then that kind of thing. So.
Scott, have you seen the Artemis Fowl movie on Disney Plus?
No,
Because they want to know your opinion if you have.
never even heard of it. What is it about?
I don't know.
You know.
No. I have Disney Plus, but I don't know.
How did the Scenicruiser make it up the hill?
Did just fine.
It didn't even break a sweat, man.
Stirred up a lot of dust, but it come right on up through there.
There was a lot of dust. We haven't had rain here in a little while, so the gravel dust, there's definitely. We got it on video. We'll post it later.
Has the roof ever been cut for roof units?
No.
Your skylight's still in there too, or?
No, I've covered. They had 4. I've covered 3. The lower level skylight is, and I wished I'd covered it. It's just hot.
Too much
Yeah, it puts in heat.
It just lets a lot of heat in.
Do you need a different driving license to drive a bus like we have, or like we need an HGV license in the UK?
No. He does have his CDL though. He's a retired truck driver.
If it's registered as an RV, then you do not.
That's the whole thing. The RV loophole. You don't have to have anything. You don't even have to have an air brake endorsement. Like any other vehicle on the road, if you drive it, it's got air brakes, you have to have an air brake endorsement. But if it's titled as an RV, you don't have to. So it's just a little bit of paperwork, and you can do whatever you want. So like the AARP goes to Washington and lobbies because they're backed by the RV industry. They want to sell motorhomes, and they want retired people to be able to buy motorhomes to travel the country, but they don't want them to have to get special licenses or pass special physicals or any of that kind of stuff. So, that's how government works. They go and they bribe isn't the legal word, but they do.
All about money.
Yeah, they bribe a politician or and get them to vote for these laws that allow no DOT inspections, no annual inspections, absolutely nothing. As soon as he turns 16 and gets his driver's license, he can drive that, no questions asked whatsoever. That's how it works.
If his dad will let.
And just to mention again, if anybody does do a super chat tonight, I'm going to also donate that, all of that to the MCI bus fund down there to help the guys out with the band. So if anybody does that tonight, that'll also go towards it.
Wouldn't you agree that an air brake course makes a person more aware of the limitations of the air brakes and the dangers if you don't know how they work?
Let the professional truck driver answer that question.
It definitely does. You just need to know your system. You need to know the brakes and what they're about. But unfortunately, if you've got an RV, you don't have to know that stuff.
You just know you step on the pedal next to the gas to stop.
Uh-huh. Gas, paddle, brakes. What else do you need to know? It's an RV.
Is this a social visit or is a site repair work coming up?
Yep. Social visit.
Yep. Going to a car show tomorrow in Nashville or Lebanon, so we thought we'd stop and see Scott.
What is the average cost of owning a bus with an 8V92? Depends on the bus.
Same cost as anything else. I don't know that the engine really matters much. The annual cost of it.
Yeah.
What do you think you put into yours a year?
It gets 7 miles a
Your
gallon.
wife's probably not
Yeah.
watching, so.
No, yeah, I can be honest. 7 miles a gallon depends on how much I drive it. So I never change oil.
You just add?
Just add. Grease it occasionally. So diesel's about the big upkeep.
Have you had any issues with your bus?
No, really none at all.
Start.
Yeah, it's really nothing.
Yeah.
It did not want to start on me today, so I had to kind of jump it. But and it has new batteries. I guess my starter's getting weak or needs tightening up or something.
How about we ask Tavia some questions?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Is a Scenicruiser, is that your favorite bus, or do you have a different bus that you really like?
Well, the Scenicruiser is all I've rode in basically, except for the Buffalo. Buffalo's pretty cool, but I like the Scenicruiser more. Because it's got the top roof. I like sitting up there.
Scenicruiser and a Buffalo are basically the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just a Buffalo looks like it ran into a wall. And
Yeah, a little
flattened
shorter
out.
front end.
I myself like the looks of the Scenicruiser more than a Buffalo.
Yeah.
But you don't have Buffaloes don't have the raised floors, do they?
No,
Yeah,
they're
that's the only probably negative thing that I would have to say about a Scenicruiser is the side aisles where the seats used to be are raised up about 10 inches or something.
Yeah, something like that.
And you really can't remove it safely very well unless you do some pretty major
Right.
structural work, because it is part of the structure of the bus.
Some people do, but it has to be done right.
Any more questions for me?
How many kids you got?
8 total.
But this is the only one that ever goes to the bus shows with you.
Yeah, he's my mini-me. He goes everywhere with me. Mostly get away from his mom so she don't work him too hard.
Okay, Two Feathers just did a super chat. Pay it forward future intro music for our page.
Yeah, so thank you for that, Two Feathers. That'll go directly towards the bill for the guys for the MCI for the Farmhands Quartet, which was really cool. Talking with Tim. So his uncle used to play the same instrument that he plays. That's how he got into it. And Tim himself has played at the Grand Ole Opry for years.
20 years, he said.
Yeah, like 20 years he played there as a regular. That's really cool. And then his uncle played with Lester Flats and Earl Scruggs. I thought that was a really neat thing.
Yeah.
I can't think of any more questions specifically to ask Tavia. So as long as he's got video games and an internet connection, he's good to go.
Gets to ride his motorcycle every once in a while.
Do you get to ride that motorcycle?
Haven't rode it yet.
Oh.
Okay, this one says in the UK it's $10 a gallon. How much is gallon over here? How much is diesel right now? We haven't been out to.
No, right up the street I've seen it for $1.99 at the store, and the truck stops is usually a little more, but it's right around. At home it's $2.29, but around here I've seen it for $1.99.
We haven't had to fuel up for quite a
Oh,
while,
yeah.
so I couldn't
Don't
tell you
know.
right now.
It's
pretty
cheap.
low, yeah.
Yeah.
It's cheap.
I wonder why in the UK is it $10 a gallon? It's got to be taxes, right? Or
It's probably like New York, how they get those jobs, have a lot of money. So they have all their
Cost
stuff
of
down
Yeah, it's expensive.
What are the things that need to be replaced most often as maintenance items to keep one on the road, assuming normal maintenance?
rubber, so tires, airbags, those will be your biggest expenses. So, and brakes, they're optional.
Yeah, that's right.
Just downshift.
Would it be possible to double deck that Scenic Cruiser and make the bottom deck into sleeper bunks instead of a huge, what is now a cellar?
Yes, I think it'd be easy to make.
I've seen it. Was that a Scenic Cruiser that we saw where they did it, or what kind of bus was that where they put it down in the bay?
Had a bedroom and
Yeah.
the kids stayed in it. Yeah.
I don't know if that was a Scenic Cruiser. Might have been a
I don't
I
think
believe we've
Buffalo
seen
or
a couple
something,
different
but-
buses done
We've
that
seen it
way.
a few times. Well, yeah, they'll put a hatch and down into the bay. One of them I saw, they've got a cutout for a window and escape hatch and everything on the side in one of the bays. But yeah, it's a neat place for a basement bedroom for kids or something.
Couldn't stand up, but it'd
Yeah.
be a good little bedroom.
Yeah, they call them a double decker, but they're not a double decker. There's just a raised, elevated. So the first row of seats are down low at the beginning, and then it goes uphill where the hump's at, and then more seats back there.
It seated 10 people up front and 33 on top in its day. 43 people. Even they call it a 45, the bathroom took up 2 seats. So it only seated 43 plus the driver. 4501.
We got a super chat from Fred Rutzel, maybe? That's how you say it. He just says hi from Austin.
Hey, Fred, thank you. And we'll donate that super chat to the MCI guys. So that's nice of you.
Back here. Someone's saying that they're having a hard time hearing you.
Is everybody having a hard time hearing us? We're a little further away from the camera tonight, so.
How many Scenic Cruisers do you think are left?
They say 250 are left and about 75 are drivable, is what I've heard. The other ones are pretty much like parts, pretty bad shape buses.
I got dirty today. I was very, very, very dirty today after working on that MCI bus. I had to crawl under it and just crap falling in my face. That was
That's where he gets that name, Grease Monkey.
when he got here today. I was pretty dirty.
Yeah, your arms are all black.
What type of fuel economy do you get?
Right at 7. 7's the best. 6.8, 6.9, up to 7.
And where's home for you?
Greenback, Tennessee, 30 miles south of Knoxville.
Yeah, Barry is saying all tax, so that must be for UK. Are there any 60s Superior coaches out there? We used to have one as an RV in the 70s.
I think Superior was just a bodybuilder, right? Weren't they a body?
I'm not
Like
sure.
they would use a Freightliner chassis, and Superior was for some reason that's what's in my head. I don't work on that kind of stuff. I've not seen them, no. But for some reason I think that's like a bodybuilder. I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
People are saying that they hear you just fine.
I gotta take a drink.
Another person's asking about seeing the interior, which they said they're going to.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Is the Scenicruiser garage looks immaculate? Credit to the owner.
No, afraid not. Just a shed. I do have a pit under it though. It's dirt, about 2 feet deep. I just slide in under it. It's better than nothing, but it works.
Dug it with the Bobcat.
Dug it with a bobcat.
Are there any bus videos on TikTok yet? I don't go on there.
Not
do
from
you?
us. I don't do TikTok. You do TikTok? Yeah. Seems like something you'd be into.
You don't have a phone.
Um,
He's got a motorcycle instead.
nice. That was the one thing that I remember about the first time that I met you, was when most of the kids came down with you to the rally that we had at the Bus Grease Monkey Rally in Indianapolis.
Yeah,
you're-
Maya and Isha came, Daniel came.
And these kids played outside all day. It was like 1978.
Yeah, bicycles.
Yeah.
They just. We don't have paved parking lots where we live, so they was excited to get to ride around that paved parking.
But it was just neat to see kids being kids, like 1970 style or 1980 style.
Instead of staying inside and play like we do now.
Yeah.
Not too much, you don't stay inside.
Any advice for replacing felt and rubber gaskets on an engine access panel?
Nope. But you want to, you definitely want a good seal there, but don't use something that's going to glue it together, because you need to be able to get to that engine access panel.
Is a tag axle the driven axle?
No. And he's modified his, right?
Tag axle had duals on it. I only run singles on it now. That's pretty much probably all I did. But the tag's actually just to carry some of the weight and more stopping power, extra set of brakes.
Make sure you're putting your questions in all caps. Okay, I'm finding questions that are in all caps here. So, sorry if this has already been asked, but is this still in the dual engine configuration?
No,
You can answer it.
there's none in existence. No duals in existence.
So Greyhound sent every single one of them to Marmon Harrington. Is that where it was?
I believe it was, yeah.
In Indianapolis, and they pulled the twin 471 configuration out of every single one of them and put in the 8V71. I think that's why the 8V71 was developed, was
Yeah.
to go into these buses. I mean, they were having all kinds of problems with the two engines together, and the first opportunity they had to get rid of that and go to an 8V, Greyhound did it. It was a maintenance nightmare, expense-wise,
Yeah.
reliability-wise. So if somebody says that they have one that's got that in there, they don't know what they're talking about, because they are all documented gone.
If they do have one, we want to see it.
Yeah.
Someone says, you said that the MCI bus just had service? Was it just serviced?
Yes. Yeah, he told us another story yesterday too that kind of bugged me. So the power steering, what's the word I'm looking for? The hydraulic, whatever it was, broke on the front end there, the ram, and he took it in to get it fixed at a bus shop, and he was there when the part came in, and then 2 hours later they called him and told him it was done, and then they charged him 8 hours on the bill for labor, to put it in. He's like, wait, how is that possible?
Yeah.
I was just there 2 hours ago when 2 hours and 15 minutes ago when the part came in. I'm like, well, maybe they had more than one person work on it.
Well, don't tell
But
me
I,
you had
they
4
didn't. There's no
people.
way they had 4 people working on it. So
Doesn't sound right.
no.
How did the dual engine setup work in the Scenic Cruiser?
Connected together, from what I understand, with hydraulics, fluid drive. I'm not sure how it all worked. I've never seen one, but from what I've heard and read, it was some kind of fluid drive. Wasn't it?
I think the book shows that, doesn't it? And show that mechanism in it, or
I'm
no?
not sure.
They used a lot of other vehicles had that kind of stuff. You know, the military vehicles from the war had 671s, like the Sherman tank that we worked on. So I mean, it wasn't a completely new thing, but they had to be pretty much so the same power, or there was all kinds of issues with them, and that's where issues came in.
Yeah, one engine pulling the other engine.
Yeah.
Scott, would you do airbags on a country coach?
I probably could. Yes, I would assume so. They're probably rolling lobe, I assume, which I like doing more than the double convoluted bags myself. You guys have convolute? No, you have a mixture. What do you have on this?
The double.
Okay,
Almost like
the
two
ones
bolts.
with like 40 screws around them.
Yeah.
The rolling lobes have 3 bolts.
Oh,
Two,
yeah?
2 on the top, 1 on the bottom.
Kind of like a semi.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, top and bottom.
Someone wants to know whose inheritance is that bus?
It'll be his someday, probably.
Any more snake adventures?
No. They found ticks today, though. Kelly had a tick on her. Tavius,
Had 3.
he had 3 ticks.
You had one on your phone?
I had one on my phone.
They're taking over.
They are.
Yeah.
They,
Tick invasion.
It's okay, you fogged them out now, I think.
I did. We got the fogger out. Hopefully we'll...
What's happening with Larry and Lenny?
Larry is the name of Tyler's bus. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I like that
He
name.
named it after his grandpa.
I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah, that was-
I like his grandpa.
Yeah.
You don't even know him and you like him, Dad.
Good name.
Larry's just waiting for Tyler to get down here and work on him, so I'm not doing anything to it. And Lenny's just fine.
Tyler wants to know, so when are we doing the next bus Grease Monkey Rally?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we get settled here a little
Good
more?
question. It's a good
Maybe in the
spot for
fall
it.
we could do something.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I think I could probably get 20 or 30
I
buses.
bet you could.
Yeah.
Because people can even line up down the drive if
Yeah.
nobody's leaving. You know, whoever's down at the end is staying,
Yeah.
and you get a couple in here. And
Yeah, get the stayers down that way.
Yeah.
People don't wanna leave up here.
Yeah.
Some people have to stay down at the bottom of the hill. And, when you add the 13 speed, will you have to change the gearing in the rear end?
No. I think it's a 373. I've put taller tires on it to gear it up a little, but I think it should be fine.
What do you cruise at in that?
66 at, I think 1900 RPMs all it'll do, which is fine with me. I just lock it to the floor and sit in the right-hand lane. Don't have to pass nobody.
Are there any running around with T or TA engines?
Oh, yeah. They've got it easy. Compared to most GM buses, you're really limited on what you can do. But on the Scenicruiser, there's really no... I mean, I guess you can't put a 12 V71 in there, though, can you? Or could you?
It'd probably be difficult. Not enough length room.
Yeah. So most GM buses have a left-hand rotation engine. And this bus has a right-hand rotation engine with a T drive, not a V drive. So it's a straight-end T configuration, like a normal bus.
Do you ever see the last GM coaches, the one that had the front with no hump?
After the Buffalo? Maybe? Talking about a hump? Scenicruiser in Buffalo.
Yeah, but I can't think of anything else that came from GM other than transit buses.
Oh, like a 4106. You think they
Well, that, oh,
just
well,
a
that
straight
would,
level bus?
yeah. I don't know what they're asking. I don't know what kind of bus you're asking about.
How long did it take to restore your bus?
I've had it 11 years, and it'll probably never be finished.
But to where we could live in it.
Yeah,
for
it's
about
at a good
4.
point right now, but I'll say 10 year probably, a little at a time. When do you finish a bus? When you hand the keys to the new owner?
Yeah.
It's finished. You're done with it.
Were buses made back then built to last compared to buses today?
Yes. Especially the earlier model buses, like the silver sides, there's so much aluminum in there, which this is mostly aluminum too. But GM back in the day hadn't realized that if they made the bus too good, then they didn't have the opportunity to sell buses again down the road as soon. And then that's when everybody started doing cheaper materials to make them rust out, make them not last as long, that kind of stuff. So that's why like our buses are still on the road, and the modern day buses, you're not going to find a Prevost H3. If you find one driving on the road 70 years from now, I would be shocked, wouldn't you? Especially all the computerized shit that's going to be outdated and not backed up, not supported, and it's going to be a nightmare. I'm not making fun of Prevost, but
Computers are good,
yeah.
as long as we can get them right.
Yeah. I just have zero faith that any of those buses will be on the road 70 years. At least not even, maybe if one is, you're not going to see a large percentage of where there's, 200 of these that are still around and 75 of them still on the road.
Especially the electric ones they're coming out with now.
Yeah, they'll
No.
change it.
I mean, they're having so many problems with them so far.
Yeah.
They are. The companies are suing the manufacturers of the electric buses, and there's lots of issues. They're not getting the mileage and the range that they were supposed to. Everything. And the maintenance cost, that was one of the selling features for electric buses to these companies, is that you can, you'll save all this money on diesel, but all the other costs are much more higher than what they would have been spending on diesel.
Yeah.
And especially now that diesel prices came way down the last year or so.
What is the route history of this bus?
The destination sign that I found in it was from Maine to Key West. So it ran up the East Coast, apparently.
Cosmo said that you found your Stiggy sitting next to you. It's the cool guy sitting next to you.
You'd be the guy that raced the bus up the hill. We were going to do
okay.
time every bus that came here, we were going to time their
Up the hill.
up the hill time and see how they did. You definitely came up the fastest so far. You'd
So
be at the
far.
top of the list.
Ooh, number one.
Yeah.
How many miles will a Detroit engine last if maintained properly?
They're 1,000,000-mile motors. Now, will you get 1,000,000 miles out of them before you have to do an in-frame? Usually not. But I don't think it's uncommon for them to get 500,000 miles on them before they get into their first in-frame sometimes. So if you take care of them, they'll do that.
Is the bus your full-time home?
No. I wished. I could move up here with Scott and Kelly.
No
We have the
Wi-Fi
room.
there.
Yeah, I got plenty of room.
Hey Scott, how did the repairs go on the MCI?
So the MCI is done for now. They're taking it to Missouri this weekend, and then again, if you weren't here watching earlier, any of the super chats again tonight, we are donating to help the guys out with. So whatever you donate tonight's coming directly off their bill when they pick it up tomorrow. But yeah, it's all done, and all the brakes work on it now. It's impressive.
Are the Scenicruisers any more labor intensive than the 4104 or 4106s beyond normal maintenance?
My personal experience, the only time that I don't like working on a Scenicruiser is when I have to pull all the tires, because normally there's 10 of them, and that sucks.
Yeah, quite a few more.
Extra, it's, yeah. Normally it's 4 more tires. In his case, it's just 2 more tires.
Yeah.
But no, they're easy to get to, and the engine bay is easier access than any other. Well, maybe not as much if you have that radiator or that mini split right
yeah,
there.
it kind of takes up some space. You can still get in there pretty good.
It comes out.
Yeah,
Has
I can
hinges
slide
on
it
it.
Oh,
out.
that swings out too. Okay.
That slides out.
There you go.
And
Smart.
the radiator swings out.
Yeah, I knew the radiator did.
Someone says they just Googled Scenic. Where did they crack and what was the repair?
Right?
If you can see the bus, between the windows, there's a metal plate right there. Yes, see the metal plate between each window? That's for support. And the big steel plate there. See how it beams out on the bottom there, Scott? That was for support. They've added that after they were built. I'm supposed to be answering these or you?
Oh, you can. You can. Scenicruiser questions? They're yours.
Have you seen any trailways restorations?
Trailways did not have any Scenicruisers, correct? They were all.
They were built for Greyhound is the way I understand it, but down the road Greyhound did sell some to Trailway, and they did wear the Trailway colors.
Huh.
A few of them.
So that would have been probably post 1975-ish?
Yeah,
Or
probably right around there.
yeah.
Now I read that. I don't know. I've never seen one, but I have read that.
I knew that several second-tier bus companies got them after Greyhound.
Yeah. Yeah, I think mine went to a school. It was a school bus for, I believe, the swim team at one point. And then it sat for many years, and I bought it. I think people I bought it from, it sat for 7 years.
We just got a chat. Doyle Andrews, $25. Thank you.
Yeah, thank
no,
you, Doyle.
No question or anything with it.
That'll we'll put that right towards the bill of the MCI for the guys. They definitely appreciate that. Somebody mentioned I should have recorded the conversation when I called him and told him that we did that, because he was very thankful and grateful, and he was taken back and shocked that we did that for them, that we were taking the money off their bill, and it was just a nice thing to do. So it made us feel good too. But we should have recorded the phone conversation. That was nice.
Does Greyhound mind you having Greyhound painted on the side of the bus?
Not so far. I haven't heard anything. Someday maybe, and it is good
I was
advertisement.
gonna say
for
it's
them.
free advertising unless you drive like
Unless
a
someone
crazy
gets,
fool.
yeah, someone gets hurt by it, they would
Yeah.
probably not like it, but it is good advertisement. So far, so good.
Typically, Greyhound will come out to our rallies. You know, they have a vintage bus fleet themselves, and they've never said anything.
Because there's several
Yeah.
with Greyhound on them. Not just Scenicruisers, there's other,
Oh, yeah.
quite a few buses.
But I always wonder that myself. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, the first time something serious happens
Right.
with one of their buses named like that.
Or if the right person maybe seen it,
Yeah.
you know, never know. Until then, we're going to wear the Greyhound.
But Greyhound also used to sell their buses with the Greyhound logos and emblems still on them. You know, they didn't like some companies when they sell their stuff, like U-Haul or whatever, they strip the U-Haul off of there because they don't want that liability with it. So Greyhound never did that. So there are some buses that still have the original lettering and signage on them. And if that's how you buy them used, I don't know how they could make you take it off. I don't.
Like with semi-truck trailers, they paint over it.
Yeah.
YRC does that with their trucks.
Is that a super sticker? Is that what that is? 'Cause I just saw something pop up on it.
Yep, John McKenzie. Give you a thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Thank you, John. And then I'll go right towards the Farm Hands Band. Quartet. Sorry, my bad.
What are the name of the blue towels you use? They seem to work great. Well, there's something new that we got.
They're called Wipe-All. W-Y...
P-A-L-L, I think.
Yeah. You can get them on Amazon. They're super strong. Like you can't...
You wash the bus with it.
I did. I use it as a rag to wash the bus. They're reusable. You don't necessarily have to throw them out. They're very absorbent, but they are incredible. I love them. I just, matter of fact, ordered a box today.
Was Kelly cold in the new video? Yes, I just fueled up the bus and it was freezing out. I don't remember where we were at. My hands were frozen.
Oh, we were in Minnesota and it was 20 degrees. No, it was less than that. It's like 12 degrees outside.
And I just
she's the one that
fueled
went
us
outside and
up.
fueled up the bus.
You got to sit inside.
Yeah.
He drives and I fuel it up.
I guess that's fair enough.
And typically, or he'll wash the windshield or check oil and stuff, and
Yeah.
I fuel up while he's doing that. So
Did you see her yesterday? She put the axle in the bus.
what bus was Trailways using in '87?
Probably some MCI would be my guess. I don't know a lot about Trailways.
Just asking, are you guys going to work on Bruce Wilson's Air Force truck?
Don't know. It's up to Bruce. I haven't heard back from him. It's looking more unlikely that no, that's not going to happen. Just because our schedules aren't going to come together on that. Was there another super chat thing, or is that an older one?
Ed Skaggs, $10. Thank you.
Hey Ed, thank you very much.
Yeah, let me know if you see that come up since
Yeah.
I'm not down that far.
Again, any super chats or anything that's going right to the MCI bill for those guys. And even though YouTube takes 30% of that fee, I'm taking that off of the bill. So we're 30% of it we're paying for out of pocket too.
Have you ever seen a bus that has a wrap on it?
Yeah. Lots of the buses that up at Stan's place, all those commuter buses and stuff, charter buses, most of those are wrapped.
What's your thoughts on an MCI MC6?
One of my favorite buses.
Awesome bus.
The stainless steel on them is just beautiful. They were definitely inspired by this, but they took it to another level with bling bling. You know,
Bling,
just
bling.
the little accents that they did and stuff. And then they have the 12V71 is what they had in them.
102 inches wide.
Oh
One of
yeah,
the first buses.
that's why they were a failure for
Yeah.
for them because they were so wide. That was the same thing like when they tried to get the highway laws passed to allow a 40-foot bus go. They did that, anticipated it, and went into production and did it. They did the same thing. 96 inches wide was the legal limit when they came out in 1968, or I don't remember what year it was. MCI gambled that 102 wide thing was going to be okay, and it wasn't. So they were forced to stick to states that only allowed 102 wide, which have been like California. I think some of the East Coast ones too, or something, were allowed to do that. But they had very few runs in places that they could run those buses on, so they weren't able to run them, across the country like they really wanted to do, and they lost a lot of money on those buses.
What's your opinion on aluminum wheels versus steel wheels on a bus?
Do you have an opinion?
I have aluminum or steel wheels because I want to go original look. Aluminum
They
wheels,
look great on there.
Yeah,
His
they do
wheels
look
look
good.
great.
They're kind of the original look, 5-hand holes. Aluminum wheels look great too. I like aluminum wheels, just like a mag on a car, but I just wanted to go back to the original look. So I went with steel.
Steel wheels are stronger, but steel wheels are heavier. In an 18-wheeler, they want to save weight so they can haul more freight, make more money, or use less fuel when they're not. So 18 wheels times, 35, 40 pounds a wheel that you save, that's a nice thing to do. But I like the look of that better myself.
Who was the guy you buy your parts from in New Jersey?
Luke at US Coach.
He's the man, ain't he?
He is. The thing about dealing with Luke is, you don't have to sit down and look at your parts book for 5 hours trying to figure out what part it is that you need. You just call him up on the phone and say, hey, I have a Scenicruiser, my tag axle wheel seal is bad. It's all you got to say. Oh, no problem, I got it, I'll send it out to you. As opposed to anywhere else, you got to know the part number. And then Luke will also tell you, hey, normally when that happens, this is wrong too. You might want to do this, or, that kind of thing.
He knows it.
He does.
If a bus is in good working order, what is the expected yearly maintenance cost?
Very little. Other than improvements that I've done on my bus, I haven't really. I did the engine overhaul. That was really just for fun. It didn't necessarily need it.
He did it just for fun.
I was going to say, would you do mine for fun?
Yeah. Not on. Well, if it would stop you from putting a Cummins in it, yeah.
I've got the parts. No, they're
Okay,
coming.
so maintenance.
Yeah, I don't want to drive a straight shift when I get
You're
it.
probably $500 in maintenance if your bus is in good condition is a good thing, but you're one thing away from a $10,000 bill. That's the scary thing. So you got to be prepared for something really bad to happen.
Somehow it always does.
We've done pretty good on the Scenicruiser. It's never left us stranded.
The only breakdown I ever had on the road was when my fan came off through my radiator. And on the side of the road, Lance came and helped me. And 12 hours later, we had soldered up 44 tubes in a radiator and drove that thing home. And that was it. And then I dropped the valve when I was out in Portland, but I noticed it as soon as I started it. And 2 days later, we had it back on the road. $0 in parts.
You do a lot more miles than I do, though.
A lot more miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had bad things happen, right?
What's
the
that?
bushings went out, and our radiator fan hit the bolt,
Yeah.
and it messed it up. We had to replace it.
Never left me stranded, though.
No. We almost missed a show, though.
Almost did.
I think we did.
Did we?
Wait, no.
Was it a car
That
show?
was to
Where were you going?
Arkansas. That was way
Yeah, that was
like 2
Blackmore,
weeks
I believe.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I messed the metal fan up and put that plastic fan on.
So someone was saying they just got on here. They wanted to know what the name of your guests are and the year of the bus.
So this is Larry, not to be confused with Tyler's bus, Larry, and Tavius, and his bus is a 1955 Scenicruiser, serial number 292.
And does your bus have a name?
No, I don't guess we've ever
Betsy.
named it. We can call it Betsy for now, I guess.
No logo.
What is the current largest size of a bus, length and width?
44.
Prevo's 45.
45-foot Prevo, and 102 is still the U.S. legal limit of everything, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think that it was my understanding that the mirrors were supposed to be part of that, but they're not, because I took a tape measure out, and the mirrors are not. So the mirrors stick out further than 102. And if you've been in a 96-inch wide bus, and the first time you get into a 102 wide bus, it feels like you're in an apartment. It's
Yeah.
just so much big. If you're used to it, it's so much bigger.
Right, just a few inches.
Are both rear axles dual?
They was, but the tag axle was a dual, but I only run singles on it now.
Are the tag axles solid or an independent suspension?
It's solid.
What kind of jack do you use?
Is that to me?
I don't know.
I have a
Sure.
couple of different air over hydraulic jacks. It's much easier than getting under something and pumping a jack. The air over is, I really prefer it.
And the shorter, the better.
Yeah, I've got that shorty that somebody gave me that's, how tall do you think the thing is? 5 inches
5
maybe?
inches,
5
probably.
or 6
Yeah.
inches, yeah.
Works great.
Because when the airbags are down and you got to jack something up, it really sucks.
How many miles have you put on the Scenicruiser since you bought it?
Probably about 6,000 in 10 years. Not many.
I was gonna say, that's not much at all.
No.
Man, I feel like I've seen you.
Yeah, Dad, we probably put more than 6,000. Yeah.
I mean, you came to Indianapolis.
Probably about 20.
You've been to
Blytheville.
Blytheville. Did you go to the first one too, or no?
I didn't bring the bus, but I was there.
Okay. And then Evansville.
Go to a lot of car shows.
We
Bowling
went to
Green.
Kentucky like twice.
Yeah, Bowling Green.
You go to the U.S. National hot rod thing? Don't you do something?
And Bowling Green.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cars and coffee. Do that,
But
right?
we still don't get it out a whole lot. Not near as much as I'd like to.
Every day, is that how much you
Yeah.
like to?
Take it to the grocery store?
Oh, yeah. I did drive it to work some when I used to work.
Why do you want to put a Cummins in it?
I'm kind of lazy, and I like the ideal of flip a switch for a cruise control because it's an electronic engine. I'm hoping to get some really good fuel mileage, probably about 150, 200 more horsepower. And
At least, yeah.
And I have one. I bought an old truck cheap, and I have one sitting in my garage. So that's kind of the plan.
And because it's relatively easy to do
It's easy.
on this bus.
Yep, it is.
If you had a 4106, you're trying to do that too.
No way.
Yeah.
You're done for.
Yeah, they sit sideways, V-drive.
Did Greyhound ever use Caterpillar engines, or do they now?
I think they did.
I don't think they ever did, and now I don't think they do. Do they?
No,
I think they went to a lot of them Series 60s, but
I don't think they do.
I've never heard of one.
No.
Where do you get front glass for the Scenicruiser?
There's actually some people that makes them. They're in the process of making it now. We put in orders, but it's not been made. But you just can't go out and buy it. It's
Rare.
it has to be special made, special order.
The windshield is different than a 4104, right?
Yes. The front bottom windshield they say will interchange side to side, but the upper deck windshield won't interchange side to side, so they're even harder to find.
Are the skeeters getting bad?
No.
There's our mosquito thing hanging in the tree over there.
I see that. Okay.
It's been pretty good.
They're not bad up here.
It
but
only
they
works
are-
on mosquitoes apparently, but yeah.
Mosquitoes aren't bad up here, but they are down.
I'd say your fogger helps too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have some candles in the bus.
Mosquito candles.
Skeeter.
Skeeter.
Tyler says he thought the articulated transits are over 45.
They are, but they're not allowed on the highway. Sorry. Yeah, some of those are like 60 feet long, I think.
The double.
Yeah.
Okay. Never thought of those.
Yeah, that's a transit bus though. I thought I was only talking highway coach, so I'm sorry.
Why only one tire on the tag?
I don't have that much weight, and I don't think it needs it. So I'm saving the wire of 2 tires, and I guess time will tell if it works out okay. Some people question if it's putting a strain on the wheel bearings or not, but time will tell. Time will tell.
Is Lenny longer than the Scenicruiser?
No.
35 foot or 30?
Here's the thing. Everybody in the world calls a silver size 35 foot long. Till I got my tape measure out one day and measured it. Bumper to bumper, it's 34 feet. And that's bumper. So you got another 6 inches there.
Yeah.
So it's really like 33 feet, 34.
Okay. The Scenicruiser is 40 feet.
Yeah. Have you ever measured it with the tape
No,
measure?
I
Does it
haven't.
include your bumpers? I'm curious.
Is there a certain year range to avoid with 4104s?
No, but there's certain years to be very cautious of because the first 4104s have an aluminum carrier that holds the airbag supports over the axle in the back, and it's an aluminum alloy, and it's very fragile and cracks. And after I don't remember what year they changed it, two maybe 3 years in production, then they went to steel supports in the back, and they're much stronger and much better. Which they can be repaired, or you can replace them with the steel out of another one, but it's a big pain in the butt. So just one thing to be cautious of.
What Cummins are you putting in it?
It's a N14, Cummins N14, out of a 1995 Volvo.
How many acres does it take to turn the bus around?
40, and there's a song, give me 40 acres, and I'll turn that
Yeah.
truck around, bus. same thing.
I was quite impressed how you backed up in here, because Scott couldn't have done that with our bus.
No, his turn radius is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
to have
better.
power steering. And,
Yeah. After I put the new power steering box on it, it's actually a little better turning radius.
yeah, Scott would have had to take 3 times as long at least with
Yeah,
the,
but
with the
I am
turn
a
radius.
professional truck driver.
Okay.
He is.
Well, then I want to see you do that with ours.
Not.
See how professional
Yeah.
this is.
With the backup camera, you can do anything.
There you go.
Okay, just got a super chat from Keith Calder. Keep up the great work.
Hey, thank you. And we'll donate that whatever that works out to. Is that Australian? Is that what it is?
I'm assuming.
Yeah, we'll donate that directly to the guys for the MCI. It's gonna come right off their bill. So, thank you.
Is it worth rebuilding N60 injectors, or do you just recommend replacing them?
N60?
It says N60.
You don't want N60s, whoever you are. Who's asking that?
Dapple the bus.
Yeah, I mean, you probably want more horsepower than what you're getting with that. So that's a like N65, whatever. If you have a 8V71 and it's rated, you think it's rated at 318 horsepower. That it is not 318 horsepower with N60s. That's N65s with advanced timing. So you can actually kick it up a little bit if you go up to an N70 if you're still non-turbo. But yeah, that's I would replace them with something a little bit larger just to get more power. Because people on the road today, their vehicles are much more powerful than they used to be, and it's nice to be able to go a little faster, or if you are passing somebody, or even just accelerating or climbing up a big hill like this here, any little bit of horsepower helps.
Did I miss the inside tour?
No, we could probably go ahead and do. You want to do that now?
I got a couple more questions, and then maybe.
Okay, we'll let Tavius do it. You can answer the questions and show them. Okay.
Can spring brakes be installed on an MCI 5A?
Trying to remember. I just worked on one. No, I'm gonna say no, not without modification. Anything can be done on anything, but I think you have to You can't just. I don't think you can just bolt them on. I think that the airbags are in the way.
What is the cost of a set of injectors for a 671?
If you figure around $100 a piece, is a good. I mean, I've seen them as low as like $75 each, and as much as like $140 a piece. So, I think I paid $729 is what sticks in my head and then maybe that included freight.
So, are you using the Cummins with the mechanical pump?
It's electronic, so I'm
Mhm.
not sure. No, I don't guess it'd have a mechanical.
I don't think his Cummins is like that. I think they're targeting.
Yeah, I think the old Cummins, they call them big cam 350s, big cam 400s. Then after that, when they went to electronic, they call them N14s. I think they changed it at that point.
What age can younger people drive the bus?
Registered as RV, I guess
Any
16.
age.
I was gonna
Probably
say, is
drive it at 15 with your permit.
Well, probably could if I'm in there. Huh?
Yeah.
Don't give him no ideas.
it-
He'll be
He
wanting to
offered
drive
it once. I didn't have my permit
He'll be
with
wanting
me.
to drive
Oh man.
You're
I
gonna
brought
keep
it
that
this-
with you
I
now,
brought
huh?
it this time.
You gonna let him drive it down the hill?
You can let him drive it down.
Oh
the
yeah,
hill.
he could drive down the hill.
There you go.
I would be afraid to jump in and drive it down the hill.
Yeah.
Never drive it.
Just don't put it in neutral.
You're no fun.
Yeah.
Any special considerations with mating the N14, or have a different transmission in mind for that?
13 speed is what I've got hooked up to it. But
So it's already mated together. So
Yeah.
it's just going in there.
But just about any truck transmission should mate to that.
Okay, we're caught up on questions if you want to do
Okay.
a tour.
Yeah, we'll do a tour.
It's saying
Watch
that
this
you have
video when we get home.
913 people
I
on
don't
right
think
now.
we can. It's live.
Oh, you it gets recorded.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Yeah.
He doesn't know anything about YouTube.
You are old.
I am. old.
So let's get rid of that
Same age as the
shirt.
bus.
Yeah.
I was born in 55. So we keep up with each other's age. 65-year-old, in case you're wondering.
You only got one wheel on your tag axle too, huh?
And it's a dragon.
Are there many, if any, turbocharged Detroits?
Yes. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, 92s.
Especially, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so
Someone's saying to take the bus to do your driving test.
Good idea.
that would be awesome to do. I gotta figure out how to turn this camera on.
Didn't they do? You told me one time the guy, if he didn't spill the coffee when he passed.
Set the coffee on the dash.
All right, Tavius, I'm gonna let you. If you carry it this way, it'll be more balanced than if you just hand do it. So let me shorten the tripod legs though. So sorry, I'm shaking it. Try not to be real shaky with it, and we'll try to answer questions. Okay, so you can kind of see what you got on there.
If city. When
You want to go walk around the bus and
whatever
show
it
them the
disables,
outside?
whatever in the
Cool.
camera, so it's shaped here.
Hmm.
Slow down.
Maybe show them the motorcycle.
Yeah.
And it's what?
And that thing has a turbocharged engine in
Yeah.
it?
It's turbocharged.
650.
650 turbocharged.
How big is the turbo?
It's kind of hard to see, but it's kind of under the kickstand. It's very small. I think in its day it was the smallest turbo built.
Wow.
Mid 70s, you said.
Yeah. 82 actually.
So we go inside?
Yeah. Talk them to it.
Yeah, show them what you got.
Yeah.
Here we
Where
go.
I keep my underwear. That's right.
Oh, yeah, nope.
Make sure you show them that shower pan.
Yep.
Flip
So
the
there's
two
the
lights on and you get right there.
driver's seat.
Show them a picture of the bus what it looked like when we bought it.
Yeah.
Refrigerator, it used to be the bathroom.
That used to be the bathroom right there. It's a refrigerator and microwave now. Here's all the shows we went to. There's the bus when we first got it. So, yeah. And then here's the second deck, I guess. 2 tables.
It plays video games.
Yeah. Got my Xbox in here. Then we got the couch, and we got the bunk bed, shape of the windows. The mini split. Then this is our. Let me turn the lights on. Here's the shower with a wheelbarrow pan. There's the bathroom. And this is the master bedroom. Not that big, but you know, it works. So yeah, that's mostly it, but it's got mostly all that. The 2 tables fold into beds. That one also folds into a bed too. Yeah. Guess that concludes our tour. The inside.
From the front of the bus. I'd have to back up a little, get the see if we can get the whole thing in there too. The other side. Step over to the right a little bit. And, oh, I guess you got some doors open over here too, though. Look at that.
Yeah.
But they can see the paint job more.
I was saying thank you for the tour.
Oh.
Mm.
Yeah, he's got the dog painted. I'll take it. He's got the dog painted on the side too, which we really didn't see that because that. Can you close that door? Or? Pretty sweet, huh? And if my bus was parked next to it, it would look like a toy. So actually, if I come over here, there you go. You can get the Scenicruiser looking at the 2 silver sides over there. With some funky German car in there too. The 5460 is the original fleet number of this, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was this bus's number, Greyhound service number.
You can see right here is the, you see with the
Oh yeah.
Greyhound lines, Chicago, Illinois.
I don't know how well that's coming out in the video, but I can see it in real life. Yeah. Yeah, and those steel wheels look awesome.
Well, those are hub pilots too. I've changed them to hub pilot.
Oh, I forgot you did that.
Bay doors open on the engine if you want to go up
Oh, sorry, Kelly. Got.
That's in trouble.
Okay. All right, I think we're going to go ahead and finish up. Is there a couple more questions real quick?
Yeah.
We'll hit a few more questions and then we'll be done.
So they can hear better.
Okay.
Is the AC powered by a pony motor?
The
Generator.
the factory AC was,
Yes.
but now it has a mini split that's run off the generator or a 50 amp RV plug.
When did the MCIs use maxi brakes?
After they were invented. I don't know what year they came out. It was into the 70s before they came out with maxi brakes, I think. Sorry, looking at a bunch of my head right now. Okay.
Can you turbo your 8B71?
Get Tavies in there. Yeah, there's bunches of Scenicruisers that have turbocharged engines in them. None of them came from Greyhound like that, but yeah, people have done that now.
How will you connect the shift mechanism on the 13-speed?
The shifter will shift in and out of gear by a cable and sideways by either a stepper motor or air cylinders. I've not decided.
What bus would you recommend from 1962?
4106. Why are you looking for a very specific year like 1962?
Maybe they were born that year.
Could be.
4106, be a good one.
That would be the one.
Is that a newer steering column?
Yes, it's a tilt out of a city bus. I can't remember what it
Eagle,
was.
I think. No?
No,
It's telescoping too, isn't it? Or
no, it's not.
Oh.
That one isn't. It's just
Okay.
tilt.
That always remind me of what's
Same,
an Eagle.
same bus I took the power steering parts out of. I got from the steering wheel, pretty much out to the wheels, everything. The tie rods, steering box, steering wheel, power.
Someone's asking to see the engine bay.
Oh, yeah, we could do that.
Did they fit air wipers in that bus as well?
Yes.
Still have air wipers on
Yes.
there?
And they work pretty good. They have a delay just like the new ones.
Unintentional
Yeah.
delay.
How much would one in decent shape cost?
Scenicruiser,
I'm assuming.
15 to 20, probably.
I'd say.
They're usually a little bit higher.
They're hard to find.
Yeah, the ones that need a lot of work, I've seen them $5,000 to $7,000 range. But yeah, if I don't think I've ever seen one under like 12 that's ready for the road.
Where can you get the mirror extensions?
Those are homemade.
So, Greenback, Tennessee.
Yeah, go back to Tennessee.
Tim wants to know if the Scenicruiser is there in the morning, can he look at it? What time are you guys
They're
heading out?
leaving early.
You can look at it early. Around 6:30 probably.
So you have to be early, Tim. What is the best bus of all time?
The Scenicruiser.
It'd be between a Silverside and a Scenicruiser, wouldn't it, Scott? The Silverside would be my second pick.
I think the Art Deco styling of the Silver Side, but
Turn it off, Dad.
geez, we're live.
Thought I had that phone on mute. It's okay. It's just my wife. I'll call her back.
Uh-oh.
She figured out she's watching
Yes, she's
live.
watching.
I love the Scenicruiser.
Yeah, no, they're beautiful.
If you wanted a second bus, that's what I'd let you get.
They're just,
That's
are.
what I'd let you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
One for $15,000 right
The one thing I love about my bus is because it's shorter and it's easier to get in and out of some
Right.
places than a Scenicruiser. Although today he proved that his is more maneuverable than mine. So
Yeah.
That's if you had experience right there.
That's right. See?
I like how the sun is just nailing Tavius over there.
I know, right?
It's shining on him. He's
Yes,
the star
we're
over
in the-
there. Did the RTS have a tilt wheel?
I have no idea. This later model, I would assume maybe.
Is that a city bus?
Yeah.
I believe that's what that come out of.
Okay. Yeah.
I believe it was.
Kind of the newer style of the fishbowl kind of thing.
Yeah.
Looks like, yeah.
So that'd be yes to that question.
There you go.
Okay, this one, Tavius, I believe is for you. What plans for his future does the young lad intend to do with himself when he is 16 plus? Is he going to follow the footsteps of his dad and buy a bus?
Yeah.
He's a bus nut. He's looking at the military though to start with.
Nice. You have a couple of other brothers and
Mhm.
sister that's in the military.
He has a sister. And two
She's in-
brothers.
They're in the military as well, or no? Yeah.
And another brother that's been in the military, but he's not.
Were you when you were at the Blyville rally and you saw Nick with his bus?
Ooh.
Did you like that? Was it you're like that got your wheels going?
Yeah, that was a
17
good
years
one.
old and he's got a Silver Sides bus.
When did they stop building the Scenicruiser?
56.
2 years is it, right?
Oh, he built them 3, 54, 5, and 6.
Oh.
1,001 of them.
Do you have to pay
Mosquito.
Greyhound to use their colors and logo?
No.
You're getting all kinds of trouble now.
Someone's asking, is their internet slow or is it YouTube? Might,
I don't think it's us. We probably
We're
full
fine.
bars, right?
we're fine now. It was a little shaky, like buffering a little bit when he was inside, but it caught up.
Oh, the bus probably, yeah, blocked the signal a little bit.
Someone said, nice Scenicruiser. Can we see the inside? You'll have to go back and watch this after it's done because it already showed.
He just did it, yeah. And if you just tuned in, any super chats tonight are getting donated to the Farmhands Quartet to help them out with their bill on the MCI that we finished up today. So if anybody feels like helping them out, that would be awesome.
Would a new look GM bus be a good starter bus for a vintage bus fan?
A GM new look
Mm-hmm.
for
Would it be a good starter bus for a vintage bus fan? So someone that likes vintage buses.
yes, but the problem with the new looks, most of them, if it's a transit bus, they had a Suburban model too that had luggage bays, but the transit ones do not have luggage bays. And if you make it a conversion to a motorhome, you really want luggage bays. I've had both, and no matter what the transit guys say, it is better to have a luggage bay than to try and figure out something else. And very jealous of the size of
Got
yours.
some big bays.
Is the steering air assist?
This
No.
is full on hydraulic power steering.
Okay, we got another super chat. John Clamshell SP. And regarding hubs for my bus, it's a 2002 Thomas Freightliner FS65. I am switching to hub pilot wheels. Is a hub casting number all I need for new bearings, seals, and hub pilot hub?
I, unfortunately, cannot answer your question.
Is that something Tyler can answer maybe?
Possibly, but you still have to know the hub casting is not necessarily going to help you because the spindle size could be different. So it'll tell you what the races are, but you can get the same outside bearing cone shape with the inner being smaller.
Well-
So you still need more information than that, I believe.
When I went to Hub Pilot, all I did was have my hubs turned at a machine shop and put studs in it. Change the studs, have the hub turned. Bearings, everything's the same. The hub's the same. It's just been turned on the outside.
Well, there you go. That might be the cheaper way to go instead of buying a new hub, unless you've already bought your new hubs. How much did it cost the machine shop to do that for you?
He charged me, I think it's $20 a wheel. Pretty cheap.
That's
He only
great.
turned 1 millimeter off of it, about probably 1.5 inches back.
I guess it depends on how much you turn.
Yeah.
And who you go to. He was a friend.
Yeah.
Man.
Someone says they still feel bad for Scott's Scenic Cruiser finger.
Yeah, and just 2 days ago, that one, I had this was more of a MCI finger because it was only half as swollen in the middle. When I wedged it, I was pulling the brake drum off, and I forgot about the stupid nuts that hold on the axle shaft. So as soon as I thought I was clear of it, I went to go down, and I nailed it right on that axle nut thing, and oh man, it hurt. But yeah, I had a Scenicruiser finger. I don't know if you saw the video, but I smashed it, and my finger, it was small like this, and then it went like that. And
Okay.
it looked just like a Scenicruiser. It was hilarious. Except for it hurt. Other than that, it was really funny.
Tom Feller's on here now. Bus Grease Monkey song and ringtone now available on iTunes and Google Play Store.
Yes, you can get our song, and you can do it as a ringtone. Thank you, Tom. You rock. The song is awesome.
How is Tyler doing since his accident? You don't know this because he texted me when you're on there. He has a concussion.
Oh. Nice. Fix your seatbelt, Tyler. What? Your head's not supposed to hit the steering wheel because your seatbelt's supposed to stop you.
That is a true fact.
And we're caught up.
Tie a knot in it or something. I don't know what you got to do to make it sure. Okay, we'll do
The
can we do an
engine-
engine tour? Can we do the engine bay?
Sure. Doors open.
Does it leak a lot?
No, it's a Detroit.
Supposed to.
Ain't too bad.
Here come the questions now.
Nice.
I like that. It's actually a song.
I'll be cashing the barrel there.
Nice big radiator fan. Bug on me, sorry. Yep. It's still got lots of room in there though. It's much more roomy than a lot of other buses.
Yeah, most of them are cluttered.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and finish up. We're good. Thank you, everybody, for watching tonight. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone who donated some money tonight for the super chats and stuff. We had another $111 come in for that, so that was awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much. You guys have a good night.